Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is Broman Clash right here, and just wanted to speak on about something, and it's been something that's been going on in America, and people are starting to wake up, even though it's been going on for decades. And you may think I'm condescending saying this, but it's been going on for a long time, and if you're catching on now, then it's kind of a surprise, because about police killing young black men. I mean, it could be harkening back to what happened back in the civil rights era. And some of you may say, "Oh, are you trying to bash white people or something like that?" I'm like, no. And before you go off on the comment section, or if you pay attention to what the hell I'm saying, you will understand that when it comes right down to America, it was built up on racism. It was built up on corruption. It was built up on the blood of those who were exploited. Yet it acts as if it's the moral center of the world. It cannot act as a moral center if it has, discourse and especially corruption. I mean, think about it. They passed laws to keep certain people inhibited. They even create corrupt treaties to keep the original indigenous people off their lands. Now, how does this tie in with today? Well, it ties in with today because it seems as if the people who actually built America are not generally respected. And it really hits me hard because, I'm a young black male. I mean, it's obvious. Even if, see, look, now you get to see my eyes. Yeah. And it's funny, too, because when it comes right down to it, it just makes you think like, man, did America really change or not? And some people actually fell for the illusion that America changed. America did not change. I mean, come on. And just because they're not showing it as much doesn't necessarily mean it's not change. It didn't change at all, or it tried to change. America just got sneaky. That's the thing. And people. I mean, especially the video with Eric Garner, and they trying to justify his murder. Some people may say that, oh yeah, police officers, they were doing their job. And it was funny, man, because when it came right down to that, what is a police officer other than just an overseer with a faster name? In case you were wondering what I was referencing to, listen to KRS-One's Sound of the Police, because he said, if you check the word overseer like a sample, repeat it very quickly in the crude voice sample. Overseer, 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 officer, 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 officer. Yeah, officer from overseer. If you need a little clarity, check the similarities. The overseer rode around the plantations. The officer is patrolling the United Nations. The overseer can stop you what you're doing. The officer will pull you over just when he's pursuing. The overseer has the right to get ill, and if you fight back, the overseer has the right to kill. The officer has the right to arrest, and if you fight back, they put a hole in your chest. They both ride horses. After 400 years, I got no choices. The police have a little gun. Cause I roll around streets, so I roll around with a bigger one. You get it? Basically, he was describing the similarities of what overseers had and what officers currently have now. And you want to know the funny part is, some of the original badges that officers had back then can be comparable to that of runaway slave patrol. And it was kind of funny too. And some people are saying like, you're trying to incite a race war. I'm just like, I'm not trying to incite anything. I'm just pointing out that America did not change. People want change. Just because you have a black face in the White House, namely Barack Obama or Barry Soweto, whoever you call him, you know, just because you have a black face in the White House, which black hands built for the white man, doesn't mean a motherfucking thing. White people focus on the white half, black people focus on the black half. I think they knew what the hell they were doing. He was selected, as Mr. Louis Farrakhan once said so eloquently. He said he was not elected, he was selected. And I give kudos to Mr. Louis Farrakhan. That's beautiful. I mean, come on. They needed some way to pacify us, especially us as black people. Now we're starting to wake up and smell the coffee because we realize that, wait a minute, Barack Obama, he didn't do anything for us, so fuck him. First term, didn't do shit. Second term, definitely ain't gonna do shit. And funny enough, like, man, I remember I heard this once before, and it was talking about how the way that they consider Barack Obama not the first black president, but the first gay president. Or I'm misinterpreting that. It was funny because I heard that in the video once. And, evidence can be supported by the fact that he's trying to push, gay marriage to be more supported. And the funny thing is the fact that back then, gay marriage was not even supported because, it was seen as unholy. But, I digress. If you're gonna love somebody, love them. If you're gonna cheat on somebody, let's just put it like this. If that person's a vindictive motherfucker, you better fucking run. Don't worry, I'm heterosexual, by the way. But the reason why I'm gonna point this out is because, seriously, Jon Stewart was talking about this. No, not about the whole gay thing, with Barack Obama and all that stuff. But, Jon Stewart was talking about this, and I remember I read something somewhere before. And it was said that the comedians are taken more seriously than the politicians. The politicians are looked at as jokes. You want to know what the funny part is? That's true. Just like hip-hop back then. Hip-hop back then was taken much more seriously, just like reggae was taken seriously back then, because it spoke to the people. It came from the people. It was a voice. Now, some of you may say I'm going off on a tangent, but really, there is a connection. When you heighten the consciousness of the people, what happens? They begin to wake up. They begin to see things that they couldn't see when they were asleep. We're starting to notice that America didn't change at all. And funny enough, it kind of hit me hard when I was just looking like, are you serious? So everybody was just like, man, America's the greatest place to live. Man, let's just put it like this. Just because it has the facade of that doesn't necessarily mean is the shit. Matter of fact, it's just plain shit. Some of you may say, why don't you go live somewhere else? And I'll say, don't worry, I will. But you know what, man? The best way to accept a place is to first accept yourself. And now, I went off on a tangent right there. But I'm going to talk about, about America and why it is the worst. 500 years of oppression. Matter of fact, 400 plus years, just to be exact, of oppression. It killed off Native Americans, claimed an already inhabited land for somebody else. Come on. See, look, America, I think it's more of like a Greek or European name. But it comes from an European origin. But I'm talking about America. The nation, the country, the history, not the indigenous land that it used to be. See, America is corrupt. America is not exactly perfect. Matter of fact, it was never perfect. It was only perfect for those who are either rich, those who have the right skin color, basically those who fit the criteria to be protected. I don't fit the criteria to be protected. In fact, I'm the one that's the target. And quite frankly, shit, it's kind of funny that, like nothing really changed. Prison systems are disproportionately black, just like what happened in slave plantations, which was primarily black. And then, and then it kind of makes you think, like, wow, they're making people work for cheap labor. And the 13th Amendment says the act of slavery, except when the assailant or the person is convicted of a crime, is not meant to be a slave. The act of it, and the fact that they added that word, criminal, unless they are a criminal or convicted of a crime, they are considered to be a free man. Unless See, that's a huge word, unless. They thought the 13th Amendment freed slaves. See, look, it did, but that was also another means and another loophole to, to create laws to make certain groups of people, namely Africans in America. Some of you may say, why don't you just say African Americans? Because just like it was said back in the KRS-One song, or in Boogie Down Production, when he's talking about the homeless, he say, you can call a man a bum with disgust on your morning run, because he lives out in the street and you don't know this. But what you fail to realize that the one you so despise reflects yourself, because every black man is homeless. Now, here's that part I want to talk about. He says, no matter how rich you become, because you always be two, not one. Because believe it or not, America ain't your home. And he said, Afro and black are African, while theft is American. So how could Afro-American make much sense? Because to be fully American, you gotta take out the word Afro and relax your head. You might as well call us Toby. Now, that came from a song called The Homeless. Look up edutainment. And it's funny because like what was said back then is having greater reverberance now. They're trying to erase that, if you notice. And funny enough, the nerve of some white people trying to say that, oh, I support cops. Like, come on, man. For real? And the nerve of some black people actually thinking that, oh, cops are not gonna harm me. Let me tell you something. A black cop will not hesitate to tackle your ass down. You wanna know why? Because he's trying to impress, a white cop right there. Black cop. Man. It's just like how the way field hands also had black slave hands that would keep slaves in line. And how does this connect back into slavery into today's time? Some of you may say, like, why are you talking about this now? Are you trying to incite something? Are you the instigators? I'm like, I'm not one of the instigators. I'm just pointing out what the hell is really going on. And funny enough, I can understand the emotion. I can understand where the mindset is coming from. But, being chaotic, and the first thing you have to do is to actually say, you know what, man? In order to unify, we gotta stop black on black hatred. And some of you may say, well, there's white on black hatred going on. That's true. But the best way to handle black on black hatred is to say, we gotta find the root of the problem. The root can go back into slavery, where we were taught that we were lesser than human. We're not supposed to look at each other as, people. We were not people of African origin, a beautiful origin, by that matter. And when you look at that, and it's being beaten into your head for generations, and then you realize that you got the new generation of slaves right then and here. And it gets real sad when you realize that, wait a minute, is this what we were supposed to be? Man, we are a beautiful people. And some of you may say, like, man, bro, man, Clash, what are you? A revolutionary or something? Are you a troublemaker? Let me tell you something, man. If you're gonna put a label on me because I'm speaking my mind and I'm just giving you straight up facts, and I can understand there were some white people who were down to support us. And for that, I thank you, because your efforts will not be forgotten. But there's one thing you have to remember. This is a black problem. We need to handle ourselves. And some of you may say, that's ungrateful, but you have to remember, our people got to handle ourselves. And the sad part is the fact that when we do handle ourselves, and we handle ourselves with strict discipline, that's when some, the government, racist, whiteys, or whatever race wants to attack us, look at us as we're the enemies, even though we didn't do anything wrong. I mean, we had Black Wall Street back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that was an act of, basically doing something right. We were not out there, ranting and raving. We were not out there raping people. We were building our own community. And then some white neighbors, as I put in air quotes, white neighbors, came over, bombed the city, burnt down, basically the establishment that took us like Reconstruction just to build. Yet they don't want to talk about it because it will make not the black man look like a savage, but the white man. And some of you may say, why are you bringing up the white man as if he's a savage? Leave the white man alone. I'm just like, man, let me tell you something. If you constantly put out the image that a black man is nothing more than just an Uncle Tom, because that's how he's going to kiss the white man's ass, he has to be a thug so he could look the street, so he could look illiterate, or he just has to be a target so he could be killed. And if he's intelligent, wise, and he respects his women, and especially respects his history, he's definitely a fucking target. And that's the sad part, man, because when they're trying to put out images of the black man that's false, not true. And it makes you think, what's really going on in America? Other than the fact that they're trying to hide from the truth. They're trying to keep people asleep as opposed to waking them up. You want to know why? Because America is scared of real black power. So they try to label it as black supremacy. That's, in America, that's real cute. Yeah, a little wordplay right there. That's real cute. But truth be told, America should not play any kind of game whatsoever. It cannot play pure, especially when it murdered. Like, how many people, especially with how many bodies it accumulated, and then it has the nerve to try to pull out and try to say, oh yeah, but we saved some people too. Oh yeah, and then by exploiting them. Can't do that. In America, you have to remember, you have a potential battle on your hands. And funny enough, the citizens growing kind of restless, especially those of the African kind. And the nerve of you to look at us and say that we're savages, when the real savages were the ones who killed for sheer enjoyment, and who killed because they choose not to understand. America, I'm talking to you, and this is Bromac Flash on YouTube, just saying whatever's on my mind and whatever I gotta say. You can say I'm a fool for saying this, but in essence, I just had to say it. And personally, I'm not surprised at all. And with that, I say, yo, YouTube, hope you have a great evening or a great day wherever part of your world you in. It's Bromac Flash, signing off.